Okay, so welcome everyone. My name is Omri Erez. It's actually the first time I'm presenting something related to blockchain publicly, so go easy on me. So I'm self-employed, mostly my focus is Android development. So for most of the stuff that I'm presenting in public and meetups are related to Android development, but in the last 2 years I started to kind of go into the blockchain world, and I thought it would be nice to present some of the stuff about blockchain as well. These some of my clients. Everything I do is related to Android development, but not always development. So for example, I'm writing online courses for Pluralsight, which is an education platform like Coursera, Udemy, if you know. It's a US-based company, a pretty big one. So I did that. So I'm not your financial advisor or a financial advisor in general. Anything I say shouldn't be taken as an investment advice. And if you decide to invest even 1 cent in blockchain-related projects, then you must do your research before, and a good one as well. First rule of investing: never ever invest in something you don't understand. Einstein said, if you can't explain it simply, you don't understand it well enough, and in our case, then you better not invest in it. This is my personal advice. So this is present time. You know, everybody heard about all the ICOs. Hello, welcome. So you see these birds? It's, I think, probably reflecting most of the investors in the blockchain space today. I don't want to say that everyone are clueless, but I certainly have the feeling that a lot of the growth that came is pure greed, and a lot of it. So we talked about it before. I guess a lot of investors or a lot of people are hearing about blockchain because they're afraid they missed the Bitcoin gold rush that happened in the last 4 and 5 years, and just want to throw money in because some technical guy told them that it's going to be the next big thing. And probably it will be, but so a lot of people are investing. This is why you saw 400% growth in the last couple of months. So now, before I continue, what's the technical background here? I'll just ask a couple of technical terms and just say if you know the term, then just raise your hand, okay? So everybody knows what proof of work is, proof of stake, consensus, yeah, ICO probably, right? No, okay. So you're the most important. Yeah. What about segregated proof of forest? Anyone know that one? Proof of forest? Of course no, because I just invented it right now, but probably if I will write a white paper and I will be convincing enough, then...
Hang on, I've got some money.
Yeah. Okay, so there was a boom of ICOs because of Ethereum, which I think most of you know. It's a platform for smart contracts, which made it really easy to launch your own token and kind of raise funds for your ventures. For example, what's your name?
Carol.
Carol. So let's say Carol now wants to open a new venture, and it doesn't have to be something with blockchain. You can even decide that you want to open a Tesla museum, which was actually a very successful Kickstarter project. I think it was called Let's Build a Goddamn Tesla Museum. He raised a lot of money in Kickstarter. So let's say you want to build a Tesla museum, you have a website, you go try to promote yourself, and you can today through Ethereum raise funds, and in exchange to the funds you will give your supporters some kind of tokens. Let's say we call it Tesla coin. And people that believe in you and believe in your project either want to put in money because they think it's really important that all the kids today will learn about Tesla, or they think that your tokens will increase in value in the next 10 years, and maybe they will make a profit out of it. This is the whole point of an ICO, which made it really easy for people, or like the entry barrier to raise funds. So there was a really big boom of ICOs. I just took a snapshot today when I was in the train. 800 currencies, or different coins, cryptocurrencies, which are divided to 187 assets. When you say assets, it's platforms like Ethereum, which you can issue your Tesla coin on that platform, and your asset is actually Ether, or kind of using the platform. And like that, you have similar platforms. You have Waves. You have
open market.
Exactly. You have a lot of different and much more coming in. You have a new one now. It's called Eternity. You have Tezos, which I'm going to talk about a little bit later. So you have a lot of or multiple smart contract platforms, which are offering an easy or kind of a low barrier in order for individual to launch a project. You have Bancor. I don't know if you heard about it. They just raised like $150 million. It's actually the Israeli company. They did an ICO, I think, last month. They are all about like smart tokens. Let's say you have a community, so you can open a community, kind of a social media page, and people can throw all the cryptocurrencies inside it. Then you have kind of a liquidity, and you can use this money to invite Red Hot Chili Peppers to Hamburg or whatever. Yeah, you have around the community. Say markets or segments in the blockchain. All of them are somehow related to blockchain technology. It's a complete world. So you have platforms, you have public blockchains and private blockchains, and you have prediction markets and blockchains that are trying to solve identity theft or identity fraud, and privacy and exchanges and brokerages, and it's a whole round world. And every project has a white paper, which is kind of the definition of what they're going to do. In a lot of cases, they go to an ICO only with a paper, and a lot of projects are successfully raising millions of dollars, which is actually never happened before. So I think it's positive, and as I say, it has a negative side as well, but it gives them fun to kind of realizing their idea or their concept. So I think I read around 30 or 40 white papers, which is horribly time-consuming, but it's very interesting because you can see, like, you learn a lot from that. I encourage you, I hope we're going to see all of you in the next meetups. Maybe if you have some time, then you can just look at the project you find interesting and read the white paper. Then maybe you can share it with the rest of the group. I will talk about 3 projects today that I read the white papers and I think has potential or are relatively unique to all these 800. Now the current environment, or like let's say the status quo, what's going on, at least from my experience or from my research. So blockchain technology is really in an early stage. Like, we don't know what's going to come. Okay, so now it's a huge growth from 25 billion to 100 billion, but actually it's not very big. Like, I believe that maybe in the next 5 or 10 years, you probably see $1 trillion or maybe more. Okay, so if you measure or if you compare it to kind of assets or wealth or market caps of banks or stuff like that, so 100 billion is really only a drop in the sea, right? So I think really we're going to see a very big increase or very big growth, but the technology is in relatively early stages. It progressed a lot from the last couple of years, but it's still a bit in its infancy. We talked about, for example, for the storage. Yeah, you said there are a couple of startups that are trying, or a couple of coins that are trying to use blockchain to realize distributed storage. They all promise that they will cost maybe 1/10 of AWS storage, the Amazon storage for cloud storage. Some of them work, some of them not. I tried to install it. I'm a software engineer. It didn't work for me. So if I couldn't install it with a technical background, then I cannot see how people with non-technical background would actually earn some coins from that. It's really in really early stage. The web is full of speculations. So you talked about Dollar Vigilante, for example. You have a lot of YouTubers and YouTube groups and magazines that write a lot about different blockchain projects, a lot of bloggers, a lot of groups. The more I listen, the more respect I have for all the information. So the more I listen, the less I kind of let it change my mind or change my direction, because it's really highly speculative. Like, the market it's a pretty crazy, it's like a jungle, basically. So you have a lot of information because a lot of it is open source, and you can see actually the source codes of a lot of projects and a lot of white papers and a lot of bloggers, but a lot of it is just pure speculation. So take it in consideration. 1.5 years ago, there was the DAO. It was kind of a distributed organization which collected money in an ICO. I think they raised like 100 million or 80 million, something like that. And then there was a big hack, and someone stole like $50 million, and then they did the hard fork, what we talked about, like the same what we talked about, kind of to bail them out. I think it was the wrong move, it's my opinion, but it just happened. I don't know, they kind of bailed them out. So the SEC decided that all these tokens or the DAO tokens are going to be regulated as securities, or they're equal to securities. And the second they did that, they basically enforced a lot of rules from the conventional financial world on these kind of tokens. This is why most of the ICOs don't take any investors from the US. Okay, so a lot of these projects are basically scams. They presented something, they had a white paper, and probably nothing is going to happen. Either the founders will just take the money and run, but the project will die. And probably from these 820, maybe 90% or 95% will just die. Either because of the scams, or probably most of them will fail. There are pump and dump schemes, basically, because the markets are so volatile. So each coin basically has a Slack group that you can go in, and there is a chat, kind of the community chat, where they announce all kind of stuff, or some news, or some people that invest in the coin, or some people that thinks that this project will succeed. They're part of the community. A lot of them are open source, so they have developers that helps them in, like, it's all voluntarily. And there I saw, I think it was in Stellar, which is a different project. And one of the people there just said, listen, join to my pump and dump group in Telegram. And I say, okay, like, it sounds funny, so I just wanted to check. I don't use Telegram, I downloaded Telegram. So you have 15,000 people that will go into the exchange in a certain hour and will decide on a coin. And they say, okay, we want to pump now Tesla coin. We're back to you, Carol, your coin, Tesla coin. And the entry point is, let's say now Tesla coin is worth 20 cents. And they say we're going to pump it, we're going to buy until it goes to 50 cents, and then we're going to sell. So what happens? It's really horrible, actually. And because of this kind of acts, or because of this kind of effects, I think blockchain gets a really horrible reputation. Yeah. So they pump. Everything, all the people are buying, and it's actually a lot of, like 15,000 people. It's a lot. Like, I don't know how many people in the whole world are investing currently in crypto, but it's not millions. So it has an effect. So they're pumping the coin until it goes to 50 cents, and then in this 20 minutes or half an hour, a lot of outsiders, which are not part of this group, they say, oh, what's going on here? Like, something is happening. Maybe they had an announcement. Maybe I'm gonna buy in to make some quick buck, right? What we talked about before, just want to make a quick buck. They have probably no idea what this project stands for. Probably have no idea what is blockchain, but they want to try their luck. It's like actually going to casino and bet. So a lot of outsiders are gonna buy this coin, and then in a certain stage, they say, they write in the Telegram, okay, we start dumping, or they decide on the price before. And that's it, and they cash out. Decided to put their money, they're just losing their money because the coin just goes up for, I don't know, an hour, then just goes down, which I think is horrible, but it's out there. And I was really shocked to find about it. It's common than you think, I guess. Yeah, I think we should somehow migrate, like, we should somehow fight this kind of effect. I don't know how the community will do it. It's my opinion. It just gives a really bad reputation to the technology and to all the cryptocurrency world. Yeah, some ICOs are being hacked. Like, to me, it's really crazy. Okay, I really like Ethereum, or like I found about Ethereum around 2 years ago before the ICO. But I guess as much as I like the progress they did with blockchain, or the innovation that they brought to the crypto world, I guess it's, in my opinion, it's a little bit broken by design, because every week you hear about an ICO which either been hacked, or some hackers did a phishing Do you know what's phishing? For example, let's say you have your landing page for your Tesla ICO and you say, send me the money to my address. Then you have a wallet address, and all the people that believe in your Tesla coin will go and send money from the Ether wallet or from... So just a hacker will hack your website and change the address, and then all the funds will go to him. Now, as much as I love blockchain and the distribute and the honesty, the second that you send the money, it's gone. Like, there is no way to reverse it, unless you do a hard fork, what we talked about before. So Ethereum is a little bit, I guess, broken by design, because it's their responsibility as well. If they release this kind of tools for people to raise millions of dollars and hundreds of millions of dollars, they needed to take some measures in order to maybe help them or make sure that it doesn't happen. Because every week or every 2 weeks you hear about like 4 million, 7 million stolen. I almost sent money to an ICO, sent some Ether, and then I found that it's like the wrong address. You know? So it's really... And as I said, I have a technical background. Like, it's not. I was trying to be really careful, and I almost sent. The second you send the funds, it's gone. If it's not gone to the right, don't send to the right address. Everything is transparent. Yes, so you can see in Etherscan, for example, you can see all the transactions. So you can see how much money we got transferred, and I see like hacked or like addresses or wallets of hackers with like 70,000, 80,000, 90,000, 30,000. It's a lot of money, like, you know, and it's really, it happens every day. And it's an evolution, yeah, like everything. It's an evolution in technology. And you see, for example, I participate in one ICO called Civic, which they basically want to use a blockchain to prevent identity theft. So they actually used their software in order to make, like, you could participate in the ICO only after you download the software and kind of use this identity app of them, which was really good, and their ICO was really successful because no theft, nothing. So they did it really. There are no regulations for these kind of things yet. So it's a real jungle. Like, most of the ICO just want to get the money in, and on the way, people are stealing a lot of money. Sorry. He's investing for a lot of years, and he actually was an investor in the first .com bubble in '98. Don't listen. It's identical. It's like the same, you know. You have companies every day. They raise millions of dollars. There was IPOs. Here it's ICOs. It's like really comparable. I saw a couple of really good articles about that. And probably most of them wouldn't survive 2-3 years. It's like in the startup world, you know. You have 90% of them are going to die, and the money is going to be gone. But with that, it will help the technology to have its evolution. Yeah? So it's going to take some time, maybe 2 years, maybe 5 years, maybe 10 years, but it's going to go there. Same with the regulations in the ICOs. I can imagine that in 2 years, you wouldn't be able to invest so openly in ICOs. They're going to be like I already read about a platform that want to kind of help to prevent this kind of frauds. For example, one of the Slack groups, I already saw a bot. Somebody programmed a bot to kind of try to detect this kind of frauds, because it's pretty easy. As I said, I'm part of 50 groups, and then some random user, or like, which is impersonating one of the owners of the project, is sending a message. The message is the same. So you can see someone is trying to mess the channel. So it's going there. It's going to take some time. And again, the web is full of speculations. Okay, I just want to emphasize that again. Just try to really be objective about what you read. Don't believe anything until you really investigate it. Okay? As I said, I think it's bad for the reputation of blockchain. All this boom of the ICOs and the hacks and all this innovation coming, but it's great for the technology. As I said before, probably 90 or 95% of the project wouldn't survive this. But all these hacks and all the failing projects are really, this is what makes the technology more resilient and stronger. Yeah, and it's true to every technology. So the first ones or the first projects, we're always going to get burned, like the DAO, what happened with Ethereum, that they stole like 50 million. But after the DAO, everybody knew what was wrong with the DAO, and this specific bug, which was just a bug of a program, wouldn't happen again. Or at least I hope it won't happen again. So this kind of evolution is important. All this hype, and again, I think most investors don't really, they just it's being the situation now is being elevated, I think, or powered by a lot of greed, which I think is not good. But sometimes, you know, we're people, we need to learn the hard way, I guess. Yeah, thank you very much. Do you have any questions, or I don't know?